Welcome back. Look at this. Look at these smiling faces. You can see James Straight's back in the house. That's why we're happy that now no knock on Tone by any means, but it's good to have James back in the house. That's Brad. That's Eric. I'm Eytan. Thank you. GoldBoys, OddsShopper. We have a ton to tell you about, but we also have a lot to talk about, right? So, gentlemen, how we doing?
Doing pretty good. It was kind of a slow weekend outside of golf. So I just kind of like watched golf, got Johnny Vegas 25-1 across the line live bet, which was really fun because I put a 30% odds boost on it. So that was tight.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
nice. Very
my
nice.
my weekend was lovely. I was up in Reno and Tahoe boating around. Absolutely voice shot to the moon. I am feeling all kinds of glorious, but I was on a plane this morning at 5 a.m. Back in the home base. So it was about as good of a weekend as possible. I got to also say the absolute nut best moment of my entire life was taking a boat. And I was like, oh, I got to get this bet in immediately. Got to get this bet in immediately. And I'm out on the boat with no reception whatsoever. And we crossed over into the Nevada line, and I was able to get it in just in time to have the Dodgers end up blowing it 7-6, end up having Houston. It was a beautiful time to be alive. I saw that it was like 6-3 in that game as we were boating, and I'm like, oh, God, this is gone. And they come back and win that ball game. Alex Bregman walk-off home run. So ended up being a pretty enthusiastic little weekend.
Not bad, man. That's pretty damn good.
Oh, Olympic basketball was terrible, though. I absolutely got slaughtered for opening weekend for that. So that was an oopsie, but otherwise, all around good stuff.
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, just shelling Eric in the text conversation with random shit that I either forgot or was just like, if I post this, I'll get my Discord card revoked. But the reality is I was wondering why plays from Eric were coming out at like 6 a.m. this morning on the OddsShopper Discord because I'm thinking, well, I forgot you were in Reno, of course. I'm like, what is he doing up at 3 a.m.? But it makes sense. You
Driving to William Hill, putting in some bets, putting some stuff in on my phone. BetMGM's gotten so much better over in Nevada. That might be a game changer. I might have to persuade the wife Tahoe's where we need to be from now on.
Look at you.
That's
unbelievable. By the way, real quick, we'll have to go around and give out our top bets. You can hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed to the GoldBoys channel. And of course, if you're following along on the OddsShopper Twitter account, make sure that you're absolutely following at OddsShopper. Live sweats. And I just, before we jump into that, because I know Brad always has something that he's sweating, right? To be fair, this is always like his fourth or fifth show in the chronology of the day. So he's probably given these out elsewhere, but we've got live sweats coming up. But real quick. I must have texted you. I can tell you when I texted you, 7:26, Lindy, at 6:26 p.m. What day of the week was 7:26? Friday, right? So Friday afternoon. Were you still in Reno, Nevada at that point? Like, where were you at that point?
7:26 p.m. on Friday.
Because
I don't know.
Texted you.
I was somewhere drinking and gambling.
Screenshot. I'm sure you were. I texted you a screenshot of Japan to lead and win the men's artistic gymnastics all around. Boosted, my brother.
You did do that.
From 105 to plus 124. All right. From minus 105 to plus 124.
Are we burying the lead? The fact that you've hit like 90% of the bets that you've sent me over the course of the last 3 weeks? Dude.
It's something though, Brad. It's something where it's like, as soon as I start to move away from this, hey, here's a Twitter bet, here's a Discord bet, and I include anybody other than just Lindy, this shit crumbles. So I don't want to.
There's a lesson there, Eytan. There's a lesson there. All things are better with me.
I think there is. And the point is that you blew past my stupid Japan bet, and it cashed with flying colors. So shame on you. Brad, what are you sweating live, brother?
Listen, this might be a first. I'm absolutely sweating nothing. The soccer slate was so small today where I tried to place one bet. My bet didn't even go through. The bet lost. So I saved money, but I technically was sweating for no reason because I had zero action on it. It's been a sad day. I've only placed 4 bets today.
I am going to be sweating Colton Cowser more than 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. I was able to snipe that line when he was leading off. I didn't think he was going to be leading off here for the Baltimore Orioles, but here we
Nice.
are. He's been just absolutely in fuego, and saw that he was starting again. One of those things that I wasn't exactly paying the most attention to baseball this weekend, but had a pretty good idea that he had been starting the last couple, and the line looked a little bit off. He started Sunday, and yet the opening number was identical to what it was on Saturday when he was batting sixth. So I kind of had that one in the back of my mind. Ended up jumping on that line as soon as that lineup came out. Ended up having some pick six stuff here over in California as well, where I included that along with Horwitz, 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs, Mountcastle, Santander, a lot of really low numbers over on pick six, and massive overlay that was there today.
Nice. Good job, man. Picking up on
Thank
that.
you. I have my moments.
Yes, that jumped in live right there at the top. I had a tennis boost, so I went on over to OddsShopper and I picked out Borna Koric. No idea who that is. I'm probably butchering both names, to be honest with you. But Borna was going up against Emil Rusuzuvori. And the best number I could get there, thanks to OddsShopper, was an alt game spread at plus a half. It was even money, so I boosted it to plus 130. Now, to be fair, this is a match. This isn't even an Olympic match. This is something in Washington, D.C. And you know how FanDuel gives you the option to live stream this stuff, right? And especially tennis, you could actually watch the match. Let me tell you something. There are more people at an XFL game than watching this current Washington, D.C., whatever pro tour this is. So there's nobody in the stands. Nobody knows. It looks like right now Borna is minus 230. So pretty good shape, pretty good shape.
There you go.
And the other one that I have is I went under the Team USA, the women against Japan. That's a pretty large spread right there. There's revenge in the air between both of these teams, at least with USA, I would think. So it was 61, lost a little bit, but still went under 60 and at 160 and a half. So I'm sweating those two at the moment. But I don't think there's going to be any crazy reaction from me. It just we get this out in case Brad does something because, you know, somebody hat tricks in the first half or something.
Bro, I feel so like, I don't even know. I feel like incomplete. Like I'm not whole. Like there's no, I mean, outside of the big five, I understand the big five aren't in. We don't even have like Icelandic soccer on right now. Like
That's what I'm surprised about.
no league that I handicap is on, and it's so sad. It's a sad Monday, but Mondays are really like the hardest to bet on for soccer because you have to imagine like most of the leagues had their big games on Saturday or Sunday. This is prime time, right? This is prime time. Teams, funny things happen during prime time games. It doesn't matter what the sport it is.
Yeah, it's a pretty good point. Sorry, Eric. I thought he was gonna. Yeah, it's a
I have
really good
absolutely
point.
nothing to add. I was just thinking
No.
about how many corner bets I want to tail from Brad in the course of
I
the
know.
Olympics. Have you been betting some Olympic soccer at all?
I have actually not a fun story. I have not
Wow.
won a single player prop for the Olympics. And player props and corners are my two strongest by far.
Yeah.
Not even remotely close. I'm 0-4. Corners, I
I'm
think I'm
6 in
1-1.
NBA if that makes you feel better. For Olympic basketball, 0 for 6.
It's weird because like
Reverse swept.
you think like these good teams wait till they get in danger, but they're also young, right? It feels like they wait till they get in danger before they start trying. They're like, oh, we just
Yeah.
conceded a goal, or oh, we almost conceded a goal. Now let's actually play. So it's a lot of pitter patter back and forth. Corners, the corner lines are like all the lines are really hard to get. I feel like the books, especially for match day one, weren't prepared. They weren't
Right.
prepared how many people wanted to bet on the Olympics.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think they should have been prepared, though. Look at the influx between Caitlin
Yeah.
Clark and Angel Reese with the WNBA. Like, all it takes is just popularity, and betting has become so mainstream that popularity with a sport or event is absolutely going to be associated
Nathan's
with that.
hot dog eating contest. The
Think
first
about
thing
it.
that comes to my mind. It's just insane
Bro,
that that is a thing and
but
that we
think
bet
about
on
that.
it every single time it comes around for whatever reason. Like not even, oh, I have an edge with this. He, ate 148 chicken wings last week and he's ready to rock. It's like, I know, dude. Like, what am I doing?
Not only to that point, do you won't find a sport or a sporting event that gains popularity without it being associated with sports betting. You find new stuff coming out basically like broadcasting that there are so look at the lot like live lines in the XFL, things along those lines, live lines with whatever updates with the hot dog contest, things that's my point is that it comes with like a full embracing of it. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to it. We got plays, not just sweats, live sweats, some that you may have missed, what have you. Live plays. We'll go around the horn. We each have 3 that we're going to give out. Build out this sucker, see what it looks like, and then we can revisit when we see you again on Wednesday. And there's going to be some good. There's maybe some bad, hopefully no ugly. But let's go in order here, counterclockwise. Lindy, why don't you start? Lindy, Brad, me. We'll go from there.
All right. Sounds lovely. We have a cool graphic too, I believe.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is
just
fantastic, man.
phenomenal production value that we've got going here for the people. But I got 2 of them that I'm really kind of circled. I centered that are just kind of your more mainstay plays.
Well, why don't you
got a
start
home
with
run
one?
play to finish it out. Yeah, so Chicago.
Okay.
I like the Cubs and Cincinnati under. We're looking at a little bit of a flip here in the weather. It's about 74, 75 degrees. There is a little bit of weather just hanging around the area, a little bit of rain. I think it's going to hold off. I think it'll be okay. But to have nearly a 5 implied run total for both of these teams in these circumstances is a little bit weird to me. Cincinnati hasn't been very good at home, which I don't generally care that much about. It's still a small ballpark. It's still, a number of lefties who can do some damage, but Jameson Taillon's just been good at run prevention this season. He's continued to do it when I haven't expected him to, and I've waited for one of these spots to really capitalize, and I just think 9.5 is a gigantic number concerning what we've seen from him and Carson Spires so far. Carson Spires 292 x WOBA, Jameson Taillon 303 x WOBA. Feel really good about that one. Also throw. Oh, dude, am I giving you all 3? Or
no? That's why I was trying to jump in earlier and be like, just give us one, because I know you go on these streams of beautiful consciousness. Don't get me wrong, but you'll give all 3 of them out right then and be like, all right, Brad, what do you have? And then Brad's like, wait, I thought we were just going to give one. So I was saving that conversation, even though technically we're having it right now.
Well, I'm going to save my voice then and turn it over to Brad.
Your voice is shot. That's what happens when you're yelling.
Gone, buddy.
How many Little John songs did you have back to back in the club?
Over Mai Tais. Mai Tais all weekend. It was a Mai Tai weekend.
I don't even know what a Mai Tai is.
Me neither. What constitutes a Mai Tai? Enlighten Brad and myself.
Just Google Mai Tais Hawaii. So
we're on a show. I can't Google. Come on.
So Lake Tahoe is basically, they have all these different punches that are set up at these different restaurants that are right on the water. And Mai Tais were the main one at the place that we were staying at. It was like this crazy Mai Tai concoction thing. But Duke's is a very famous restaurant in Hawaii and those parts of town. But the same owner owns this place in Lake Tahoe. And so they have Mai Tais, and they are delicioso. I enjoyed it.
So I still have no idea what makes up.
It has alcohols that I don't even know how to pronounce.
Yes, there's just goodness in a glass. It is like taking vacation in your mouth.
It looks like it looks like a nice summer.
You get these
What's
cool
the underlying
glasses.
taste though? Is it like punch? Is it orange?
Yeah, it's a little bit of punch, orange, kind of a little bit of all of the things you just said. I really don't even know how to describe it, but there's like a rum base to it, basically. Yeah. I don't know. There's like this rum base that they have.
So there's
going
no
with
soda in it. It's like
there's
like a drink, or there's a mixer. Would be orange juice.
Yep, something like that. Again, I don't even know how to describe it. There's always like a little pineapple in the corner of the glass.
Yeah, pineapple spear and a lime peel. Those are the garnishes, standard garnishes. I'm looking into this.
Okay, so
Mai Tai make them glorious.
Here's the most pressing question out of all of this. Now that we figured out what this drink is, how soon until Brad is out and orders a Mai Tai?
I will never order a Mai Tai. I pretty much order 3 drinks. My 3 go-tos: vodka, club soda.
I was going to say that first.
But that's like the perfect drink. Top shelf vodka and club.
Yeah,
ice. I'll drink that all night.
My go-to. If we were like at a more fancy place, I'll get like an old not old fashioned. I'll get like a Moscow Mule. Okay. And then if we're tailgating, like High Noon.
Okay, so Mai Tai will never, ever. All right, that's fine.
I don't like sugary drinks.
Each show
I had a lot of pineapple High Noon this weekend too. That was delicious.
Yeah, I don't like sugary drinks.
No, come on. Pineapple shouldn't be around your beer or your pizza. Let's just
You
get
are
that out.
I
you
like
are
pineapple on pizza a lot.
I do
Stop,
too.
Brad. Brad, I love you, man, but we might have to end this
Wait,
relationship.
can I throw a plot twist in there?
Of course, there's always a reason. That's the thing. Like you never not have a reason. I'll give
So
you that.
Yeah, I have to make my pizzas a little different because I'm allergic to tomatoes.
Ah,
So like
okay.
an olive oil base, if you put pineapple on there, it makes it a little juicy, cuts down on the crust a little bit. So
Okay. Well, look, I'll give you points for innovation for sure. What do you got? What's your top
wait,
pick?
I was supposed to give my bet and we went on a tangent about
Oh no,
mine.
that's great. That's what the show's about. It should be.
Anytime just picking on me as I talk about my bet for 1 minute. My bad.
No, look, that's what opened up. I'm glad you did go off because now we
I
got
I went with De La Cruz stolen base plus 146 over on FanDuel. Outside of him just being green light anytime he's on the bag, he got 4 yesterday. Like I feel like it's now sitting at 55. He's going to chase that 60. He's going to chase it hard. He gets on base. That's where he's going after. Taillon is doing everything enough for me to be scared off, but I just have to continue to ride that. This is kind of like Acuna last year, where if you're getting something close to plus 150 for him to steal a base, especially at this time of year where he's now officially starting to chase records, you have to take it.
Did we get that lineup yet, by the way, for the Cubbies?
Let's see. I have it right here. I have the game right here.
Because if Bethancourt's the catcher, it is not ideal. If Miguel Amaya, who I think is going to end up being the catcher, he's not nearly as good at holding runners, has a slow pop-up time, a much slower arm than Christian Bethancourt. But Bethancourt was in the lineup yesterday batting 9th. I'm just curious how they roll it out today.
No, I don't see the lineup on MLB. Let me check RotoWire, see if they got anything.
Do you think that would be built in though, as far as what the odds are right now?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It really depends. I mean, I'd have to run it myself. I don't. So the stolen base props, I mean, I absolutely love. I think that it's so labor intensive for certain things where for me, I'm always looking at catchers routinely. And I have a buddy who's really, really good at doing them. So I just kind of tail him with whatever he comes up with. He's actually betting this one as well today, but his notes, because we always go back and forth on stuff, just make sure Miguel Amaya is the catcher. That is very, very important. That's what he said.
Okay.
You
So
said
when does
Amaya,
that
he's
drop?
projected, but nothing
He's
official
in the
yet.
projected lineup most places. He goes, just double check before you bet it. Because I sent your bet over to him and I was just like, hey, is this what we should be doing? He goes, absolutely. But you want Amaya catching and not Bethancourt because Bethancourt has a cannon.
Cool. Thank you.
I wonder if that moves at all, if in fact it's not. But it does look like projected it would be.
It's a market that I doubt FanDuel cares a lot about when it comes down to it. Like they're not going to, I mean, are we going to get 150K? I can guarantee you the guy who's probably bet the most today in any way, shape, or form is going to be Elly De La Cruz because of what he's doing right now. So I bet they're not worried about it. I bet it's priced in to some extent, but that's kind of one of those minor edges that you can find where when there's a huge catching discrepancy between two guys, Cincinnati has Tyler Stevenson, who's not a very good defensive catcher and has a pretty slow pop-up time throwing to second himself. But Eric Yang is going to be getting called up here at some point in time to actually play catcher for Cincinnati. So just pay attention to these lineups because that could be just a huge difference maker at the end of the season if you're actually paying attention to those things. But Elly De La Cruz, I will be tailing if you have Miguel Amaya there for sure.
Let's go.
Nice. All right, we'll keep it moving here. We got some other stuff to get out. Maybe we'll squeeze out a little parlay. Last time we did this, it hit. So we figure we should owe the people here and remind everybody, of course, about what's going on with GoldBoys and OddsShopper. I'll start. I'll be quick as far as my spot. Arizona, I'll take the run line here, plus money against Mitchell and the Washington Nationals. Clearly not the same as far as what we've seen from him over the last month and really the team itself. And you're expected to get both Marte and Gurriel back after sitting on Sunday, and that's a lot going to attribute to their loss. This is just a matchup I want to take a part of. And I feel like both pitchers, granted, the numbers are going to tell you both pitchers are struggling. Both pitchers aren't great, what have you. But if you look at the trend as far as like where it's coming, this is a good spot, at least for Montgomery to build off of his last spot, at least. So I think there's some value here getting them on the run line against a team like Washington at home, at least in Arizona. And I'll start there. And if there's no objections, we can keep it moving.
Buddy, you are running way hotter than me. I will follow you into the night at this point in time, my lord.
But if you're against it, then
I'm
speak
definitely
now. Okay.
trying to even like just see if I am or not. It terrifies me a little bit because Jordan Montgomery exists. I did bet Juan Yepez over 1.5 total bases plus 135 at
Okay.
BetMGM
Okay.
before I took off a plane because when you can prioritize like somebody that was out of the league after he sucked in St. Louis and now has kind of reinvigorated his career, and that's who you want to target against Jordan Montgomery. You just got to do it, right?
I think you do. Absolutely. And I think both can coexist, by the
Let's do
way,
it.
in this game here. All right, so let's run it back. We'll throw it back to you, E.
Back to me. Atlanta. I like them just straight out on the money line. I was looking at different fancy iterations of who I'm going to be going first five. I'm going to be doing this with Grant
Yeah.
Holmes, but Colin Ray, I still don't believe it. And I will say the team that I have been the absolute worst at evaluating this season by far is the Milwaukee Brewers. I just can't get them right ever. And constantly I'm either betting on them heavily or betting against them heavily. This is going to be the betting against side. You're going to get a glorified bullpen game here. Grant Holmes is pretty decent, but I don't think he'll be out there for too long. But you go through this Atlanta configuration, and yeah, I do think bullpen games are just one of those interesting things that you're going to get 3-4 innings tops out of Grant Holmes, and then Atlanta the whole way. They can play platoon. They can play the matchup games. They're gonna do more to try to win that game if they're competitive in any way, shape, or form. And Colin Ray just isn't good. 344 xWOBA, 18.2% K rate. Not getting strikeouts up against Atlanta. They're still hitting the ball hard. They're going to see BABIP progress in the second half. I believe it. It has to start happening. So hopefully it happens today.
Yep, and I think that speaks to what you were saying earlier, Brad, as just far as the lineups and being able to take advantage of things. If you can get ahead of it, knowing that there could be bullpen activity, like what you're saying, it makes sense. All right, Brad, let's throw it back. See what you got.
Yeah, I'm going with probably going to end up being some of the chalk of the day here. I'm going with Mr. Paul Skeens over 18 and a half pitching outs. It's plus 120. I didn't feel like getting creative and and doing some kind of parlay with the 17 and a half. Just look at what Skeens has done so far. He's been absolutely phenomenal. He's gone at least 7 innings in 4 of his last 5 starts. Settled in nice. This is obviously going to be the best hitting team that he's faced since I feel like since he's been in the league. But he did get battles with the Mets and the Brewers recently here, and he still is pretty solid in that. I'm gonna just hope he gets to the top of the order really quick. 1, 2, 3, and we just settle in real nice, and he just deals all night.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you mentioned it though, it's the best hitting team at least that he's faced, but there shouldn't be this massive deterrent
No.
because of that with so well that he's faced anybody else.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if you guys follow Prop Bet Guy, but he had made a statement. He was kind of talking to one of those guys. I think his name was like Alex Caruso or whatever, one of the guys who like hype up their bets or whatever. And a lot of people get stuck in looking at a team versus X, Y, and Z pitcher, right? Like this team has not been struck out 25 times by these guys in the last 24s. And a lot of those times we're failing to realize when you're putting in that data, you're putting in pitchers who aren't as strong, right? You're not talking about the top 5% of pitchers. You're talking about a lot of pitchers who fall below that mark. So it skews the data. That's why I try not to just kind of spit out a bunch of that stuff, because Skeens has proven in this short part of the year that he's in that percentage of quality pitchers where you can kind of say, yes, sure, they are one of the best hitting teams, but the way he's dealing right now, the way he's pitching, it's one of those where you're getting plus odds. You're going to continue to ride him.
Makes sense, man. Makes sense. All right. We'll tell you what's going on here with GoldBoys and MGM. This offer is still live. You absolutely want to take advantage of it. Let me give you my play here before we get out. And hopefully this live tennis play that I just ripped from OddsShopper hits in this show so that I can brag, not for me, but for the tools and for the site, and just, give you an example once again. That stuff is working over there. It's working at GoldBoys too. That's why we say hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't, make sure you're subscribed here to the YouTube channel and following at OddsShopper if you're watching on Twitter. All right, this is not a homer play. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fingers pointed at me because it is a homer play. But look, just take the opponent out for a second. We'll talk about Luis Gil. We'll talk about the Yankees in a couple of seconds. But the reality is the Phillies' record ATS at home in the run line is pretty damn good overall this season. And I understand that it's a mass sample as far as like, okay, bad pitching has come to town, weak hitting to not give run support, what have you. But the consistent factor is that we're talking about a team with leading metrics or like top 3 metrics, right, with these lineups when they're healthy, which they are. So now you mix in, right, it's this big bowl, and now you mix in the Yankees and Luis Gil, and it gets a little tougher, right? That's why you may go from the actual mixer to the machine, because it gets a little harder to sift through. I get it. But look at this. Yankees are riding high. They took 2 of 3 in Boston. They play Sunday night. It's not a travel game in the sense of they have to travel multiple time zones, what have you, but they come into a really difficult spot. A motivated Phillies team who I think got beat more by the matchup against Cleveland than really anything else. A team that's already shown that they can hit at home, and Zach Wheeler. I'll take Wheeler where he is versus Gil, who has kind of had that up and then that down, and then we're trying to figure out kind of where he is right now after a couple of decent starts. This is not a get-right opportunity for Gil. I'll take the Phillies at home on the run line. I know it's an ask, but I think there's going to be some letdown, and I'll take the Phillies for that.
I'm terrified of this game. I have an under 9 ticket on it, and then they come out and Stanton got activated off the DL today, or off the IL today. Jazz Chisholm will make his debut for the Yankees today. This is going to be a weird lineup, man. Verdugo, Stanton, Chisholm, Soto, Judge. I mean, they have all of these boppers now, and they can play matchups, and they can do a lot of things. They can play Jazz Chisholm at second base here as a lefty up against already like Wheeler, whereas before, you're throwing out Cabrera, you're throwing out LeMahieu in a lot of those places. And I'm terrified of these Yankees in their current configuration. If they can find a starting pitcher or two, pretty freaky team going forward. But I'm on the under of that game. I don't like it though anymore.
Look, I mean, the under is going to benefit the Phillies because now look at the difference. You're going to have to out hit. It's going to be harder for the Yankees to out hit Wheeler, at least to score, than it will be for the Phillies at home against Gil. That's all.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep.
All right. 3 more plays. We got some other stuff. I think a home run play is in the mix here.
Ooh.
Before that, you can take advantage. This offer is live. It's with GoldBoys and BetMGM. The GoldBoys are one of the largest, well-known sports betting communities on the planet with a Discord to match. We're going to show you how easy it is to get 1 month free of GoldBoys.com just for signing up at BetMGM using code GoldBoys. Sign up at MGM with code GoldBoys, deposit a minimum of $10, and get your first bet back at BetMGM up to $1,500. After signing up at BetMGM, send a screenshot of you using code GoldBoys to promohelp@goldboys.com to get your first month free. 21 or older, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, here we go. One more play to go. We'll tell you about OddsShopper, this amazing deal. You get 50% off coming up. Code live. Just put that in the back of your brain as we go one more cycle here. Last plays of the night. Lindy, you're up.
Oh, Randy Arozarena. It's time, buddy. It's time to start hitting some bombs. He makes his debut for the Mariners, goes to what? The White Sox, 27th, 20th. I think he's playing that, whatever. He had 3 hits out of his 8 there, none of them being for extra bases. I think he gets that monkey off his back here today in Fenway. Nick Pivetta, he is just one of those guys that I'm always going to be like backing him in the strikeout market. And I'm always going to back hitters going up against him based on what the numbers are sitting at. Today, I think they're pretty efficient on Pivetta. And I started looking at the home run market here. Randy Arozarena has just been, not that I talk about I'm not a big hot streak guy by any means, but this is somebody that's just starting to make contact and strike out a lot less over the last month. And those are kind of the signs that I want to see against a guy like Nick Pivetta, who has a 29.5% K rate. Randy Arozarena up to a 41.9% hard hit, 13.8 degree average launch angle. You get to go into Fenway, which is played up for power. It's going out to left over the green monster right now, 6 miles per hour to 8 miles per hour. I think that this is a good spot. Ninth inning guaranteed bump. You've got Jorge Polanco as protection, who's been, hot himself, if you want to be talking about things in that way. Randy Rosarena here batting second. Feel like that is a can't miss kind of number at plus 400. I would be betting this at anything better than plus 330 at the moment.
Randy, sad to see him go. Should have never bought the jersey at the beginning of the season. I knew that I was cursed.
Oh, no. Oh, that's the worst. There's nothing worse than that. But maybe you get one of those deals where you can trade it in for something else.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to look into. I think
do they have something like that? And will they give you, like, what are they going to give you percentage wise?
Shop credit. I think it's shop credit.
Yeah.
So for the full cost of what you paid for it?
Yeah, and you just have to buy another jersey.
Okay.
Not bad.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about buying my son just a blank Phillies jersey.
Yeah.
Right. Like everything is official. Everything is official except for there's no number. Everything else is official. What was the first jersey? What was the first official jersey? Not sure. Jersey doesnnn count.
I know mine, and it's weird.
The first official jersey I ever had was D Straw. My mom's actually down here from now. We were born in New York and all, but she's down here from Southern Connecticut, so she would remember this. She got me a strawberry jersey, and then it was for my birthday. And then you know how they had those coats, like the hitting coats, but everything was embroidered on the coats too. So like his position, his number, right? Everything, his name on the back. It was this. I was in heaven. I got this thing. I was just like, okay, I don't need anything else the rest of my life. I remember that to this day.
My favorite basketball player growing up when I was like 6, 7 years old, Damon Stoudemire of the Toronto Raptors. The first jersey that I made my mom, I made her go to to Shields, our sports store, every day at the beginning of the NBA season, looking for a Damon Stoudemire jersey. Couldn't find it. We got to Minneapolis, couldn't find it. No matter where I looked, couldn't find it. Finally ran into one in Arizona where he went to school at. And so we were in Phoenix for something, and I cried when I got it. I was like, I cried. Awesome. I legitimately cried. It was so great. He had the Mighty Mouse tattoo for anybody.
That's lit. No. My first jersey, Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember because everyone's like, what are you doing wearing a Drew Brees jersey? And, you're like a little kid, and I'm like, Drew Brees is awesome. What are you talking about, dude? I just look back at pictures, and I would wear it on dress up day and tuck in my jersey as a t-shirt. Like I wear that thing everywhere.
That's so fantastic. Great. Were you a fan of the Saints, or was just Breeze? It was just the jersey was given to you, and it's like, all right,
my parents gave me the jersey. I wasn't a fan of the Saints, never been, but became a fan of Drew Brees.
That's great, man. That's great.
Yeah, I'm not a Raptors fan, but yeah, Damon Stoudemire was my
dude. Sure, carries, absolutely carries. Yeah. All right, let's run it back here. Rosarena, you have up there with the Jack. So Brad, you're up.
Well, back to Paul Skeens. Here again. This one you can use a little bit of that analysis. A couple guys here with high enough strikeout percentages to make you happy. And then back to him just absolutely hitting 8+ strikeouts in 7 of his last 9 outings. If you want to stretch that even further to get a 10-game sample, I think it's 7 out of 10, which is totally fine because then it becomes 8 out of 11 starts. Just good numbers here from him. I'm gonna continue to back him. I think if you go the 7 innings, like you have ample opportunities to get these strikeouts with a guy who has crazy velocity, crazy good pitching. I think we need Eric to talk about how he does this, these pitches where he'll set up a pitch, and it's so beautiful to watch. I saw it on MLB, and this dude is phenomenal. I know he's still young in his career, but it's cool to watch.
I could talk for days about how good he is. I absolutely love Paul Skeens. I also love that Livy Dunn is over in Paris, so he's focused. How about that for some analysis? Let's go.
That is what we need, bro.
Seriously, that's everything. Absolutely everything right there.
I know me at 23. Get the girlfriend out of there because that did not go well for the golf game. Just saying. Yeah. Paul Skeens, I think, is a little bit better of an athlete. I'll give him that.
Yeah, but that's the humanizer, right? Everybody is reduced to that. Did you see this thing in France? They have cardboard beds. Have you seen this? So they started this out in Tokyo and in the Olympic Village because everybody's known for just hooking up and banging. That's just what happens with the athletes, right? So one thing they tried to do and mask it, of course, as far as protecting the environment. And look, I don't care either way you want to go with the environment's fine with me. I'm not going to get in your way. But the point being is that they created these beds and they tried to, under the guise of it being cardboard, like it's a bed, and then the bottom is cardboard and it pops out and it's like it holds you, right? And they said, well, you can't have sex on them. So the athletes were complaining that you can't have sex on these beds, and now they've resurfaced over there in Paris. So we're talking about Olympic athletes. We're talking about the best of the best of the best, and there are still efforts to reduce sexual activity. So yeah, I don't think it matters your skill set at that point. It's all the same for us. You haven't seen these beds?
No. Oh wait, actually, yeah, I have. I've seen the beds. I've seen the beds.
Come on, man.
Listen,
NBC has the Olympics, Brad. There's no excuse.
You go to these kind of events and you're like on top of the world. You're in great shape. You're around a bunch of really attractive people, feeling all this euphoria. You're gonna find somewhere to do what you got to do. Who cares what the bed situation?
You're gonna look at the Eiffel Tower while you do the Eiffel Tower, baby.
It's the massive inconvenience of it, right? I'm not supporting this group. Again, if you want to smoke cigarettes, go ahead and do it. But it's the fact that you have to leave, right? Like it's the fact that you have to now go to the couch. You have to go to the lobby. You have to look around. Like, is the roof open? Can we get up there? What do you think? Like, we want to go to the car? Like that's an inconvenience, Brad. These people.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, when I was a Rolling Stone, I don't even know how many times I touched the bed. The bed was like the last resort. That's like when you wake up in the morning because they spent the night. That's when you use the bed. The bed was useless during that time of my life.
Hey, man, I can only speak for Olympic athletes. Maybe you're right. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe that's just how idiosyncratic these athletes are, where it's like if you mess with their routine, they're off. You make a good point. All right, let me end this madness here. Final play. We're going to go back. Brandon Marsh, take advantage of the matchup here against Luis Heel. And Marsh right now is, comfortably in the 5-hole tonight. Hard hit percentage is absolutely there. We've seen him take advantage of this type of pitching matchup, especially with a healthy Phillies lineup, and everybody's in there. Austin Hayes is ready to go. Real Muto has been back, right? So you've got this lineup, and I think Marsh, before you even look at the numbers, we're going over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI. The one thing I do like about Marsh at the plate is that he continues to be the topic conversation locally in trade conversations. And let me tell you something, right? It's different. It's a little bit different in Philadelphia because the people aren't calling up saying, oh, trade him. They're calling up, trade that rat, trade that crumb, trade that bastard, trade all. Like you're getting this. He's catching some vitriol. He makes a mistake in the outfield. He's catching some vitriol. He goes 0 for 5 at the plate. There's motivation. Maybe it's motivation to shut him up, or maybe it's motivation to get the hell out of here. But I like Marsh tonight. And the beauty of this market that I really like is that runs are a factor. And if you want to point to one thing that's been a problem, at least for Heel, that walk rate, 11.4%. Against a guy like Marsh, even if he is able to work a walk, which has been fine for him, he's been able to do that. Now that run comes into play. So that's my final play of the night.
Do you have any idea? Like, I'm worried about a lot of pitch hit risk for him once they got Austin Hayes. I didn't even look at the bullpen. But Brandon Marsh, he's been smashing the baseball for the last
Hayes is starting tonight. So you're saying that fact that now they can help him out.
So that's what I'm saying. I feel so much better about that. Seeing that he's in the lineup, batting 9th today than I will at other times. So I'm 100% backing you there. I'm just saying that it's something to pay attention to going forward as well.
All right. Well, I'll put you down for half of that play. How about that?
That sounds lovely. Let's party.
All right, good stuff. Let's tell the world that there you have it, by the way. Shout out to James, shout out to Straight. We're live with this, and the Gold Standard is the show. We forgot to even mention the fact that the show is called the Gold Standard. I guess that's on me, but you two could have said something. Both of you are hosts, so it's not like you couldn't have jumped in and corrected me at any point here. Tell the world, Brad, where you're at, how we can find you.
Yeah, man, you can go ahead and find me on the good old X machine at Mr. Brad Thomas. And listen, NBCSports.com, I feel like I came on the show and I talked about my lone bet for UFC, Bilal Muhammad, the interview and all that. The lone bet cashed, sweat-free. Just make sure you go to NBCSports.com. It's just another way to plug what I do for a living every single day. You can find all of the bets, all of the articles, and all of the videos.
Love it.
Go follow my guy Brad. I really have
Love it.
nothing to add.
Yeah, man.
OddsShopper, you can find me there. You can find me at Stochastic. You might find me doing some content with a certain famous football player very, very soon. We'll
Ooh,
see. We'll
nice.
see. Something in the mix. We'll see.
All right. Speaking of which, you can jump on the Odd Shopper Discord. More of our plays here between Eric, myself, and others. Like just like the Gold Boys, we don't have 50 sharp cappers. I don't know where you guys continue to mine this talent, but we are a group, and we've got a bunch of cool stuff about to drop. Gold Boys, Brad, a lot of people are going to be a part of this stuff moving forward. So we want you to get in. We'll give you 50% off the Odd Shopper Discord just for using code LIVE. Again, you get on Odd Shopper, you can subscribe there. Your first purchase means it can be your first week if you want to sniff around, or your first month if you really want to dabble. 50% off, use code LIVE, LIVE, and start taking advantage of a lot of things, but primarily you can tail Lindy and me to a lesser extent. All right, fellas, as always, that's all I got. At shanderbets for me. We'll see y'all.